and 35,000 plus 83. That is significant damage just right out the gate off of an S. Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the second installment of the Are They Worthy series. If you're not familiar with it, it is when I take a 30% boost, obviously slap it on my account, and then I test the heck out of a champion. And I'm going to look at this and I'm going to give you advice for 3 different account types or different layers, let's call them, right? I get this question so much. Should I take up this champion for rank 3? Often it's because someone wants to get Thronebreaker, and often it's like, oh, I don't know, that's not the best champion in their class, but you're probably going to be really happy with it. Second is someone who's got a more advanced account, right? You've got some R3s coming and you're just looking to increase what your account can do or maybe make content a little bit easier for you. And then lastly is what I call the top shelf accounts. And we will look at that and we'll analyze that all at the very end. First, we're going to take a look at the actual gameplay for this champion, show what I think are some positives and some minuses of them, and how they might fit into those 3 different accounts. I did film this one while I filmed our first installment, which is Iron Man Infinity War. Obviously, they work out very well together because Iron Man Infinity War is not only a hero, but he is also metal. And we applied the white Magneto pre-fight there, but he is so much more than this pre-fight, right? Which is turning these stuns into a nice passive, helps you get around things like limber. You're probably seeing it a lot in war videos and things like that. However, those fights also exist in questing content, right? Those defenders exist. We want this pre-fight as well. But white Magneto, as I said, is significantly more than that. And I want to address one thing right off the bat. He is not as good of a champion on his own as red Magneto. He just isn't. He's not, all right? That doesn't mean he's not worth ranking up, right? We still rank up tech champions even though they aren't Ghost, and we still rank up science champions even though they are not Quake. So let's just get that out of the way. Hopefully that's the last time you even hear me address it or say it. I don't think he's as powerful as his big red brother. That's fine. He's still very good. Let's just talk about him now. Okay, I love to test champions on this lane in Act 6.4. It's the one that ends in the Thor boss. We're going to take a look at a couple fights here. One against this stealth SpiderMan, and then against Thor, which is a very complicated fight. There's a lot going on. You really have to be paying attention to a lot, and I think it's a good way of testing this champion, what they can do outside of just, hitting Winter Soldier. And then we will take a look at that, though, as we test the SP1 versus the SP2. I know there's a lot of back and forth on that. They're both really good. Just, spoiler. All right, so we're going to look at this. Stealth is a metal champion. The one thing I really do want to point out here is that persistent charge of white Magneto. You can see I have not been using them, so he's going to be up to 10. And I know you might be asking yourself, well, why would you not use them? The pre-fight is so nice. You get the attack bonus and these sorts of things. It's because not using them increases your chance per hit, right, on your hits to get more prowess. Look, we're going to have 10 here. Look at how quickly we are able to increase our prowess, which is a big deal, right? That's increasing your special damage. And then the other thing to take a look at is he does reduce the ability accuracy of metal, defenders by 70%. So we still saw an evade there, though. And I think that's important to remember. 70% is obviously not 100. I realize you know that. That doesn't mean you can just go in attacking, crazy here. But there is a benefit to it, and we're going to see that in this fight and in some more, right? Also, notice he's hitting fairly hard. Those aren't amazing, but those aren't terrible numbers either that we're seeing there on just your regular lights and your mediums. And then let's kind of take a look here. We're only at the 3 prowess. I was testing things. This isn't always a showcase of look how amazing this is testing. But right there, we saw Stealth throw an SP1. He only triggered the unstoppable portion. So that right there is the ability accuracy already coming into play. You see now I'm kind of like, all right, let's go ahead and build the prowess. Let's see how quickly we can build them. We've built 4, 3 from the heavies, and then 1 just from the heavy being a hit. Stealth did not apply the unstoppable portion, just the evade. Gonna go ahead and throw our SP3, which is going to give us an extremely nice cruelty. I personally like doing this. I liked going to the SP3. This cruelty, especially if you have the 6 persistent charges, it increases the duration sorry, it increases the buff and the debuff potency, right? So of the special, there's bonuses you receive on your specials from how many prowesses you have. So there's more benefits than just the special itself being big. Look at this, and then we obviously missed the parry. We're gonna come in here though, and you're gonna see a, I believe it's gonna be a nice SP1 just to finish this off. Like I said, testing, kind of seeing things through, and up to the 5 there, and not a bad SP1 to finish him off. All right, I think we're now going to move directly into the Rag Thor fight. Take a look at all the things going on. We've got Prove Yourself, Unblockable, Power Efficiency, Aspect of Death, right? So when he throws his specials, we really need to make sure we're not blocking them. We've got to be landing at least 15 hits before we can even do damage, and the Power Efficiency means that the specials are going to cost less damage. And then of course, we have to keep in mind his 20 power charges there, and then the amazing power gain he's going to get if we let him get there. So there's a lot to pay attention to. We can't just, parry and heavy and then build our prowesses and throw specials willy-nilly. We've got to think about this opponent. That's why I like testing champions on this fight. You have to think about what the defender is doing as well. So we're going to come in here, and I want to show you, look at that SP1. Did some nice damage there and is applying a nice armor break. You can see the benefits that we are getting from it too, just from our regular combos. And then I believe we're going to be timing the SP3 here to coincide with Thor and his 20 charges. Pardon me, yeah. Throat getting a little dry there. All right, that's not a bad SP2. I think that's about 48,000 damage with only 4 persistent charges. I'm really not concentrating on building them at all. I can live with that. I can live with that with the ability accuracy that we've got going on, and knowing that I'm not able to build all the way to my special 3, and then we're having to work through this fight. One thing I do, I'm just going to let you know, we're not going to actually finish this fight. Like I said, this is on my own dime here, energy-wise, time-wise, and of course with the boosts. So yes, the solo would have happened. It'll be very clear that it would have happened. I wanted to get to the point where we knew it would happen, and then I backed out so I could go in and get the solo with Iron. All right, and we're going to be coming in here for a nice, the SP2 does some decent damage, and then it has the degen on it, which no one is immune to. And one thing I do want to point out about that is that if you have thrown the SP1 and you have the armor break from it, there is I think it's a 70% chance, 70% chance to inflict an additional bleed or degen debuff if the opponent has that armor break. So that can be really nice to cycle those two through. You do in some fights, we don't have to pay as much attention to the defender here. You do have that ability to go from the SP3, SP1, SP2, which is a real nice damage buff there for longer fights, again, where you're not having to throw specials to make sure they don't go crazy like our friend Rag Thor here does. So we're closing into the end of this fight, and then I want to take a look at how big those numbers can get there against Winter Soldier. And then I will talk about my thoughts on Magneto, how he fits into those 3, or could fit into those 3 different account types. All right, now we're going to take a look at the Winter Soldier. I wanted to show you the SP2 and the SP1. We're not even going to build all the way to the SP3 for this. And you're going to see I get a little proud of myself, or more, I'm proud of White Mags on the SP2 and take a combo, but that's fine. We're just going to build to the SP2 here. We're going to throw it. It crits, so you're going to get to an idea of like how big this can be. And this is without building to the SP3 first, which is, if you're really going for damage, that's an ideal way to get that big buff there, right? Look at this. We're going to throw it, and 35,000 plus 83. That is significant damage just right out the gate off of an SP2, plus add in the degen that you see ticking for 1,096. And we're going to come in for our SP1 here. And you're going to see what that looks like right out of the gate, slowing it down, 59,000 plus a nice armor break. So if you don't even want to go to the SP3, you throw the SP1, maybe get close to the SP2, throw that SP1. If it crits, you see how big that can be. You've got the armor break, you go to the SP2, you throw that, you got a 70% chance of a duplicate bleed or degen debuff on the opponent. This guy can dish out some significant damage. I think just because of the one I said we would not talk about, don't think a lot of us realize how great this champion actually is. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at him and how he potentially fits into those 3 account types. All right, so first up is Thronebreaker, and absolutely, this guy is worth it. He's better than I realized. I knew he was good. I'm one of the people saying like, hey, he might not be a red Magneto, but he's very good in his own right. First of all, is the awesome synergies and the pre-fight. We went over the pre-fight. There are so many champions in this game that are metal. Think about why red Magneto is so good, and then also so many that are hero. We're starting to go through that with Crossbones and all the things he can do. It just shows you how many champions this guy will benefit. You want him on the team because he is benefiting these other champions you use. And then the direct synergies, I'm just gonna list some of them here. There's so many, I'm having to use Aunt May to remember them. But Warlock, one of my favorites, Cable. He's excellent with Cable. If you're running Cable and Apocalypse, Colossus, Guardian, that synergy for Guardian is fantastic. Professor X, look at what he does for Apocalypse. It's interesting, right? If you're making Horsemen, and just continue on down the list. There's more as you go down there. You can take a look at them. And then I hate that that's number 1, but it is just because it is so powerful. Number 2, his damage was good. Look at what we did with the 2 and the 1, and that was a special 2 and the 1, and we didn't even go to the special 3 there at the end. So his damage is considerable. It is very good. And then the immunity, he's completely immune to bleed, just is. So that is really helpful. And then the ability accuracy reduction against the metal, 70%, that's a lot. That is nothing to sneeze at. We saw fights where that worked out very well for us and was very helpful. And then I didn't show it, but he actually there's a MCoC on that lane that can be a bit of a pain in the butt. And he took that MCoC and he did it excellently. You can parry and build up to your specials. He did it fantastically. So I think he is well deserving. He is well worth it for someone who's looking for their first for Thronebreaker. He can be taking those metal fights for you, and then he's going to make the rest of your team really, really good. Without a doubt, I think he's 100% worthy. And in fact, in my next champion rankings, which will be coming out soon after this video, so it depends on when you see it, he's getting a promotion, and he's getting promotion because it is so certain to me that he is worthy of R3 for Thronebreakers. Okay, so now we're looking at advanced accounts, right? You've got quite a few rank 3s. You're not like a top shelf. You haven't gone crazy and wailed out. Smart. Way to go, by the way. And this is the only one I have even a little bit of hesitation on. He is definitely still worthy. He can do all of those incredible things that we still talked about. None of that is taken away. And he's still going to accentuate your team. The only thing I can think of is this. Is there something else that you need more, right? Is there some... I'm realizing there's a typo. I'm going to leave it in because it's getting late and I really do want to get this out and I've got to get to some other things. So it's a typo. Let's go ahead and laugh about it. But the thing is he is well worth it. The only thing I can think of is if you need something else more, like let's say you need a power control champion and you really want them at rank 3, maybe you can get by with White Magneto at R2, use those synergies, use the pre-fight. Remember though, the fights he wins, he makes himself stronger. So keep that in mind too, with the way his pre-fight works and those, the persistent charges that he gets. It actually does make him stronger. It makes the fights a little easier, as you saw. So unless you have some other pressing need, like power control or an immunity or I don't know, true strike, something like that, I think he's still well worth it. I don't see regret coming. So go for it with your advanced account. All right, and then you top shelfers. I think he's absolutely still worth it. This is the ones for Thronebreaker. If you listen to them, it's for all of the exact same reasons, right? You probably already have Red Magneto at rank 3, and yes, he will dominate the metal fights more, but he's not going to benefit your full team the way White Magneto can. And if you've got an account of this size, I'm thinking that is probably very similar to what I went through, where if you're bringing along your metal and your hero champions, and you want to accentuate them, you can bring in White Magneto, take those metal fights that you would have otherwise taken with Red Magneto. He's going to dominate him. He's going to do great. And that's either going to charge him up and make him more powerful and get his prowess easier, or or that's going to be more pre-fights you can put on for the rest of your team, saving you items, more success, and then of course if you're taking war, making those teams stronger and those pre-fights stronger. So I still think he's very much worth it. I think he's worth it for all of them. I was surprised at how good this champion is and how much he can do, and I think it's definitely time. I know I'm going to stop comparing him to his other namesake. I said it again. As I said, I'm going to stop doing it. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. We already did a poll on who are going to be champions 3 and 4, and I'm definitely going to take that into consideration. At least one of those champions will be one of the next 2. But let me know what you thought. If you like this, constructive criticism is always welcome. And then of course, I'm always looking for more suggestions on who you'd like to see. Are they rank 3 worthy? There are very few champions in this game that I think are just no-brainers, yes, across the board for all accounts. And I think there's a lot that are really going to surprise us. I know I have already been surprised twice, and I've only made 2 of these. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.